Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. This is the book launch on the Agile strategic planning and implementation in volatile markets. I am thrilled to introduce you to my latest book. So, thank you for being here. And I can't wait to share these insights with you, whether you're a seasoned executive or seasoned entrepreneur and or an aspiring leader or entrepreneur. This book offers valuable tools to help you navigate your company through volatility and achieve lasting success. On the screen there, you have the agenda. So this is what we're going to be discussing and spending our time on. Once again, I appreciate you for being here. Moving on, welcome and introduction. I am Cecilia, the author. I am an entrepreneur, researcher, investor, and a business consultant. I run a business management consulting practice here in the UK. 25 years consulting career overview involves I started as an associate in 1998. Company underwent business structure transformation in 2001 and I was appointed chief executive officer in that year. Prior to this, was consulting from client location. That was the business model. And so I used to be based at the client offices. My long-term contracts included major brands and such as PwC. They're also a consulting firm, and others. So that's just to give an example of the type of clients I've serviced before. And my authorship, I currently have 2 non-fiction books published. This is one of them that we're discussing here today, and it's my first book. Both the books are listed on my author page on Amazon. The book title that we're discussing today, again, is Agile Strategic Planning and Implementation in Volatile Markets. It has a subtitle, and this is How Can We Steer Market Fluctuations and Align Company Objectives with Agile Strategic Planning. So this is my pride. I thank you for being here once again. We all know how this is becoming more and more difficult, these market fluctuations. We're living in a world where the fluctuations are now the norm. The ability to adapt swiftly and effectively is therefore more crucial than ever before. So thank you for being on this journey with me to discover practical strategies and actionable insights that will empower your organization or business to stay ahead of the curve. If you have picked up a copy for yourself already, great, that's good for you and congratulations. And if you have not yet picked up a copy, I hope our chat here today will assist you into making the decision to grab one. Moving on, I will now discuss the presentation, which is the book overview. I jumped on the tech bandwagon, which let me focus on some top-notch content that takes on the world ride of Agile strategic planning, particularly what happens in those markets that change more rapidly than a cat on a hot tin roof. It's so hot, it keeps moving. Those not in similar markets, this just means that picking up tips that make you that cat on hot tin roof in your market and actually making you perform really well and being ahead of everyone else. Now, the book discusses Agile organization in rapid business landscape. It discusses the necessity for organizations to be agile in today's changing business landscape to not only survive but also thrive. It is your guide to navigating the turbulent waters with confidence. Excuse me. The book explores how to harness the power and how to align your company's objectives with the ever-shifting market dynamics. Organizations must navigate the intricate dynamics of evolving markets and adapt a flexible approach to strategic planning. However, numerous businesses have yet to implement agile strategic planning methods, in my view, or what I have observed. This is what motivated me to share these insights and highlight this for you. Once again, thank you for being here. So what we'll do is we'll explore how to harness the power of agile strategic planning at this book launch to align your company's objectives. It's just the highlights that, again, that will help you to decide for yourself to get the book if you haven't gotten the book yet. Joining me on this journey just means discovering practical strategies and actionable insights that will empower your organization and help you to stay ahead of the curve. So what I will be doing now next is reading direct excerpts from the book for you to give you an idea of the content of the body of the book. In chapter 1, Agile Mindset for Strategic Planning is chapter 1. And it stresses that this is the cornerstone of strategic flexibility. Organizations that embrace an agile mindset, they prioritize adaptability. They are ready to adjust their strategies in response to new information or changes in the marketplace. If you think about it, think of companies like Netflix and their business model to align with evolving consumer preferences. A change that actually transformed the entire entertainment industry. If you recall, there was video libraries. They don't exist anymore. So we all used to queue up at the video library to get a video. And now we don't need that. We're streaming Netflix. It changed the whole landscape for that industry. Chapter 2 is navigating uncertainty, which is comprehending volatility. So basically comprehending volatile markets. It discusses the analysis of volatile market conditions. So to analyze volatile market conditions effectively, leaders should utilize these various tools and frameworks that are in this book, specifically designed for this specific task. So it will enable teams to develop not only reactive responses, but also proactive strategies based on anticipated changes within these dimensions. Chapter 3, moving on, it's setting agile objectives. That's what chapter 3 is about. It's about aligning goals with market dynamics, so exploring the art of establishing ambitious and adaptable goals and strategies. In volatile environments where the sole constant thing is a change, conventional goal-setting methods frequently fail. The purpose of this chapter is to explore the art of establishing agile objectives, which are not only ambitious, but also that are adaptable, thereby ensuring that organizations remain responsive to changing circumstances. So that's what chapter 3 is about. Chapter 4 discusses collaborative planning, engaging stakeholders in strategy development. What this essentially means is that agile strategy implementation, collaborative planning is the best. Yeah, involve your diverse stakeholders, employees, customers, and other strategic partners, demonstrating how involved they are, or the roles that they will be playing in your strategic plan. This chapter is exploring collaborative planning as an essential element of Agile strategy implementation, particularly the collaboration part of it. Collaboration starts with the understanding that no one person or group holds all the insights needed to effectively manage intricate market dynamics. So that's what this chapter stresses, chapter 4. Chapter 5 talks about iterative execution. So it is about implementing strategies in phases. So these phases, basically this chapter examines the principles of iterative execution. So which is the execution in phases. And it investigates the methodologies that you can apply for having an iterative strategy. Now, at its essence, iterative execution involves dividing, for example, dividing larger projects into manageable phases and then into smaller divisions to manage the phases or the iterations. Every iteration yields concrete outcomes that can be assessed for their effectiveness prior to moving forward. So whatever aspect you're working with, because you've broken it down into smaller manageable phases, you can be able to assess, evaluate each phase as you go along, and before moving on, you'll be able to test if it's working, or it will work as you want it to. So basically assesses effectiveness before moving forward. And chapter 6 is measuring success key performance indicators in an agile strategy. So in the ever-changing environment of unpredictable markets, companies need to develop a strong system for assessing success. Yeah? So companies need adaptable metrics for unpredictable markets. So the conventional metrics that previously prevailed in corporate performance assessment do frequently fail and reflect the complexities of agile strategy execution. You will find examples in the book, and these examples basically are real life challenges or solutions that others implemented. So therefore, they make it easier to understand. The chapter 7, which is the final chapter, touches base on examining how organizations it examines how organizations can create systems for continuous learning and adaptation to stay pertinent and responsive to market changes. In summary, sustaining agility requires dedication and concerted effort. So to establish frameworks and nature environments that foster growth and adaptability. The idea is to promote growth and adaptability. So continuous learning and adaptation is a key for agile strategic planning. Now, I'm going to touch base on the writing process, and I'm going to share with you the process itself. I mentioned earlier on how I embraced technology, which allowed me to concentrate on providing valuable content that tackles these challenges in agile strategic planning in unpredictable markets. The writing process was quite contemporary, if I may say so. As you might have guessed, I am a contemporary woman. So yes, I am one of those navigating life like a cat on a hot tin roof. Graceful one moment and then suddenly, whoops, I did it again. It's hot, you move on. Always managing to be the cheeky little step ahead of the trends like a cat on a hot tin roof. Of course, this is a joke. So jokes aside, to be precise, the work involved research with AI assistance, and AI provides a lot of data. So then in checking that data, the integrity of it, in seeing if it's what you is required for your use, and then the content organization, organizing what you require, and then utilizing the writing tools. So the likes of which are also AI powered, the likes of Pro Writing Ed or Grammarly. There's several of them out there. Visual and interactive elements, as to put into context some of the things that I was doing on preparing the data, and finally publication and promotion. So I employed contemporary methods for writing, as well as contemporary method for publishing, which not only this contemporary method did not only enhance the efficiency of the process, the writing process, but also guaranteed that the book was concise, and it was filled with insights. It's a non-fiction book, and it's business. And I like the books that are straight to the point, books that are concise. And I hope I have managed to achieve this. And being my first book, I really do hope it's a good start. And on the other hand, I spoke of the modern publishing, which is Amazon, and I've provided the URL at the end of this discussion. Basically, it makes it available, accessible to a wide audience, and then you can choose how you want to uncover the insights on a paperback or some device screen. That is your choice. So contemporary writing method really enhanced the efficiency and ensured conciseness, and ensured that the book is filled with insights. And the modern publishing has made the book accessible. So again, the choice of revealing insights are available on paperback or a device screen, to repeat myself, and I can't stress that enough, but the choice is yours. You decide what you'd like. And then now I'd like to hear from you, but this is a recording, so you can DM me anything that you want to share with me around this topic. I would really, really appreciate it if you can share a lesson learned from a time when your strategic planning didn't align well with your market changes. It's okay even if you've just heard of it, because it's insight that we can share. Really, because your input and perspective are highly appreciated. So the topic, what you can share with me, you can DM or you can email or you can phone me, is basically on how you managed to adapt to change. So that's basically adapting maybe a significant market change that caused your organization to quickly adapt. So it can be anything along those lines. And then what strategies did you use and what were the outcomes along those lines? And then we can also, you may also share about adapting agile practices. For example, have you implemented agile practices in your strategic planning? And if so, how has it impacted your ability to respond to market volatility? So, I implemented agile practices before in our strategic planning, and breaking down goals into smaller manageable tasks and holding regular meetings. We've been able to respond more effectively to market changes. This has significantly improved our ability to pivot to pivot, which we did not in the distant past, not too long ago, as we transformed our own business as well. We can also you can also share about the challenges that you have faced. You can share success stories. You can share the learnings you've had from your own strategic planning stories. Do you have any success stories where Agile strategic planning helped your organization achieve its goals despite the market fluctuations? So success stories like that, how you won that win, share it with us if it's possible. I understand this is sensitive information. You don't have to disclose the names of the company, but you can just share the stories. But if you can't, again, at the same time, that is fine. I understand that this can be sensitive information. Again, now I am going to share with you, seeing that this is a recording and now I cannot get your feedback right away, I'm going to move on to Q&A session. Again, this here in the Q&A session, I'm only sharing with you the questions that I got in. And there's two key questions that I thought were important. And one of the questions was, what inspired you to write this book? So to answer that question, my response is that alarming statistics on business failure is what inspired me. It was just disheartening. I was reading about a certain industry doing well, and all big brands doing really well, and their annual quarterly financial results were out, and then it was all good news. And then the next read was about the statistics of business failure. And I just couldn't believe the numbers. And I thought, what is wrong? I know that this issue in the past probably was mainly small business. But then again, there's evidence in the market. It's not only because with the volatility going on right now, it's not only the small businesses affected. Look at the high street. We've got even the big organizations, corporations being affected. If they're not shutting down, they are downsizing. So I thought to myself, okay, I felt a strong urge to share insights that could help others thrive, and probably bring to attention to people that the volatility, consider it, and it's the issue mainly at the moment, because as the market is changing, as companies as well, and regardless of what size we are, we need to adapt. But then again, investment challenges clearly also call for consideration of strategic planning. So, and strategic planning is itself, agile strategic planning, when you're adapting, you're pivoting, it's a cost, But if you are already using an agile strategic planning, it's helpful because you probably know when you might require to make changes. You're suspicious if you're very familiar with what you're doing. You develop an intuition for it, so you can know, you can sort of plan for it, rather than being completely taken by surprise to make a certain change. So I realized that also most are still working with traditional strategic methods instead of the agile strategic planning methods, which then works against the businesses still in their using traditional strategic planning. The book delves into the insights and offers practical strategies for success. And basically, because your strategic plan needs to be a living document, and the agile strategic planning methods, they encourage you to use your plan as a living document because you're working with it all the time, and you're adapting, you're applying the change if you have come across, if you have the need to adapt and change because in a response to what is happening in the market. So that's how this idea came up, and I've given a long response there. But in a nutshell, really, I just felt a strong urge to share insights that could help organizations thrive, particularly in the volatile markets. Now, the other question that was asked was, how does Agile strategic planning differ from traditional strategic planning? Okay, there is a difference. It's not one and the same thing. So it is a very good question. In the book, I do touch base on traditional strategic planning and versus Agile strategic planning, but it's not in detail. But when I got this question, and I thought to myself, I should have expanded more on it. So I'm going to do that now in this Q&A. Basically, to define Agile strategic planning, it is more flexible and adaptive, allowing organizations to respond quickly to market changes. So the book is doing that, exploring these differences, and provides actionable steps to implement Agile practices, including examples of what others have done already or how they won at some challenge, etc. But the differences are, the traditional strategic planning is a long-term, focuses on long-term planning, while the Agile strategic planning focuses on short-term goals. So that's a huge difference, because the long-term planning for traditional strategic planning means that it's plans that are 3 to 5 years or more, and is a detailed plan for longer time frame and pretty much sometimes set in stone. So what needs to happen, what's in that plan, while Agile strategic planning focuses on shorter time frames and about 2 years, with typical reviews at quarterly or even monthly cycles, because the whole idea is like, you're not finished. You're aware that you need to be adjusting as you are going along. So that open-mindedness, it's very, very helpful and commended and recommended. That's what businesses need to do. It's easier for, I think, small businesses than it is for, say, large corporations. But any business can. It just means that you have got teams working on this all the time. And that's where the challenge is for the small businesses, in my opinion, that may be the resources to continuously to be able to be on track. But anyway, the other difference is that or the key thing with Agile is the adaptability to changing conditions. So if you're on top of your plan and you're working with it regularly, it's your living document, or even the traditional plan needs to be a living document, it is. But the difference is that it is created, the Agile one is created with the purpose of continuously enhancing it and removing elements that are ineffective. So whatever is changing that is not needed, you remove. The new things that come along, you add. The other thing with traditional planning is linear process. So the approach to strategic planning with traditional strategic planning follows a linear process of defining goals. So basically creating detailed plan, then executing the plan without much flexibility. So basically what's in the plan must be done, while the iterative process for Agile strategic approach highlights a flexible process rather than a fixed one or set in stone. Its activities detected by direction, which means, it's like the way the weather changes all the time, and then you're changing as well. Plans are continuously adjusted based on reviews, feedback, trends in the market, the learning in your organization, and future possibilities based on envisioned different scenarios. So that is really, really one great thing about it. But then, of course, it requires resources and time. The traditional one, it is top-down hierarchy, whereas the agile one is cross-functional. The difference is that with traditional being top-down hierarchy, then every decision, all these decisions, writing the plan, only the senior management are involved, and then things are just cascaded down through the organization, which may result in limited employee engagement and buy-in. Whereas on the cross-functional one, the buy-in is high. The teams feel they own the document. They're encouraged to collaborate across, and this collaboration is across different levels and functions within the organization, promoting greater alignment and engagement. Then the other thing is that it's lean documentation in agile strategic planning. The plans are often leaner, more concise, focusing on key objectives and strategies while leaving room for flexibility and adaptation. Everyone is contributing, everyone in their role, whatever they come across, the changes, the sharing of information, which helps. So in time, this becomes a powerful tool. The detailed documentation for traditional strategic plans are usually lengthy, detailed, because it's going to be used 5 years. 5 years it's in use, and documents that outline objectives, strategies, and tactics in depth. So all the detail is in there. And then you have the predictive approach for traditional strategic planning. And this predictive approach basically means that the traditional strategic planning relies on predictions and assumptions about the future. So the future environment to formulate strategies and plans, and which can backfire because you can make plans as a company expecting you might say something that's got nothing to do with your business, but it's in the market, probably an issue you knew was going to happen, to come up, and it does, and affects your business. You have no control. That happens. So when that happens with that type of strategic plan, then you have there's a bit of a problem. Whereas the adaptive approach with the agile strategic planning is based on responding to changes and uncertainties in the external environment, which then allows the organization to pivot quickly as needed. So because that was a plan all along, then the cost might be less because you were prepared for it. You knew that you can do it. So the effects are just different. How it impacts, the way it will impact the two different type of organizations with these plans, the impact will be different. So thank you very much. I will just also again touch base on how small businesses can apply the principles discussed in the book. And small businesses can greatly benefit from agile strategic planning by staying nimble and responsive. The book offers the tailored strategies and tips specifically for small businesses. So staying nimble is what you need. And in terms of examples for companies that have successfully implemented agile strategic planning, you'll find them in the book. The book includes several case studies of companies that have thrived using agile strategic planning. So these examples in the book highlight the practical application of the concepts discussed. So make sure when you read, you will find that that's really helpful. And I made sure that that was included. So another good question that I think, or an issue, is about the culture that supports agile practices. In the organizations that using the agile strategic methodology, they need leaders that foster that culture that supports agile practices in the organization. It's constant because you're working, it's an active document, constant living document you're working with. So it's part of your work on daily basis, whatever changes, providing feedback. So leadership, creating supportive culture is crucial in order for this to be successful. And the book provides insights and strategies for leaders to cultivate an environment that embraces agile principles. So that's all I have for you today. And once again, thank you for being here. There's no book signing, but I have the URL for you here, which is the Amazon URL, amazon.com/author/Cecilia Patterson. I wish you all the best, and do share with me once you get a copy. If I just would like to get your feedback, how you found it, what you have been able to apply or to use, in case you weren't applying the agile strategic processes already in your organization. Thank you so much.